Russia diversify. Back to Davos now, and Kirill Dmitriev is the chief executive of the Russian Direct Investment Fund, a $10 billion fund set up by the government to invest in Russia's high-tech sectors. Now, the fact that you work for this fund, which is set up by the government, does that suggest Russia understands that diversification and getting away from oil and gas is going to be very important for Russia's future?
Yes, definitely. We've been investing, and actually in the last couple of years invested $3.6 billion with our partners in a very much diversified sector of economy. So we invested in healthcare clinics and telecom business, in Russian stock exchange, movie theaters. So Russian government and president definitely support diversification of the Russian economy, and lots of those sectors are growing fast because, for example, Russian middle class tripled in the last 5 years, therefore generating lots of growth in those other sectors.
And is there lots of interest in actually investing and developing in this sector in a way? Because I suspect that the easy money easy money, if I can say that, is there to be made, but that it's probably mostly in oil and gas.
Well, yes, because we just recently announced a couple of our first early exits, and on one we received an internal rate of return of 23%. On a telecom business, we exited 33% a year. So we can generate very attractive rates of return, and we've been able to build lots of partnerships with the leading sovereign wealth funds of the world. So China Investment Corporation committed $1 billion to invest in with us. Actually, quite a bit of money was committed from the Middle East. So Kuwait Investment Authority committed $500 million, Mubadala $1 billion, Department of Finance of Abu Dhabi $5 billion. We expect to have some deals announced with Qatari fund soon as well. So there is lots of interest in investing in those diversified parts of the Russian economy because lots of them are not public yet, and investing through private equity is one of the best ways to get growth.
And are you confident this can actually help the Russian economy? I know the Russian economy is very big, but we have to be honest, it is an economy which is stagnating. It's not in the greatest of shape at the moment.
Well, you are right that growth slowed down a little bit this year, but we believe it will resume next year. And if you look at the historical trajectory of Russia, the growth has been really astounding. Russia GDP per capita tripled in the last 12 years. Stock market grew more than 40 times in that time period. So growth has been very significant, and really efficiency and focus on diversification is something that can keep the growth growing. And Russia, for example, last year moved 20 points in the ease of doing business by World Bank, 10 points in the competitiveness ranking by Bloomberg.
Do you have to worry about bad press, Kirill? I only ask because when Russia hits the headlines, a lot of the time it is negative stuff. You know, Winter Olympics are coming up and all the talk is about politics rather than sport, isn't it? So I'm wondering if this creates problems, if it creates hurdles for you when you're trying to get people to invest and bring in money to Russia.
Well, you're right, and basically we believe that there are major misperceptions about Russia. So on one hand, there are some issues that Russia needs to solve, and definitely they need to be solved, but also the misperception of Russia is humongous, and I frankly believe myself Russia is one of the most misperceived countries in the world. Now, the way to fight that is that we actually started a program here in Davos where through some channels we're sharing some facts about the Russian economy. For example, that we have one of the lowest debts to GDP ratio in the world. And therefore, I think a more balanced view of Russia is what's required. And obviously the reason why many of our co-investors are co-investing with us, because they, through conversations with us, get a more balanced view of Russia, which is actually quite resilient and good economy.
And to that end, what sort of reception have you been getting at Davos? Tell us about what's been happening there.
Well, we just had a great reception yesterday. More than 300 people, top investors, came to our reception yesterday. And I think people are curious. People understand that growth is slowing down in Russia, so they're trying to figure out how growth can be resumed. But also they're impressed that we've done deals with the leading sovereign wealth funds of the world. So obviously there is something that they find attractive about Russia. So I think it's a curiosity in trying to figure out what industries can grow in Russia faster than GDP, and where can somebody make investment, for example, like infrastructure, where Russian government gives quite a bit of downside protection and additional instruments to protect investors.
Kirill Dmitriev, it's been very interesting talking to you. Thank you so much for your time today.